Hey everyone. Ooh, bit big there. Hi guys, welcome to today's session, which is herringbone highlights, and I'm going to be taking you through a half head sectioning technique of herringbone highlights using a classic foil application technique using a reverse lock back fold on the panels as we work through each section as well. Welcome to everyone joining today's session. I'm going to be taking you through a half head herringbone highlighting technique. I've got a head sheet as well, which I'll be taking you through a little bit as well. This week, we're going to be focusing on colour. We're going to be focusing on classic colour, contemporary colour, and creative colour. Today, Tuesday, we're going to do classic colour. Thursday, we're going to be doing contemporary colours. Friday, we're going to be doing creative colours as well. On Pivot Point for Michael John learners, you will also see on there a head sheet assignment as well for you to complete, as well as 3 quizzes for each day, and there is a quiz about the herringbone technique. Okay, so we're going to start. I'm going to kick straight off as well, because we've got a lot to cover. Got my sectioning pattern here as well. Just going to go through. So this sectioning pattern is for half head. You can do a full head, which has 3 further sections underneath represented by these 3 clips, but we're just doing half head today. There's 1 section at the back, and there's 4 sections at the sides and the top. So I'm just going to repeat that because I think it's question number 2, actually, I think it is. Yeah, question number 2 on the quiz. So it's 1 section at the back, 4 sections at the sides and the top. So as you can see, we've got the side sections here and also here as well, which incorporates the sides. And then as well, I'm actually going to lift it off just so you can see the top as well. And we've got the top sections as well. So it's called herringbone because it goes in a V-like technique. So it creates that herringbone stitch, almost, if you will, like they use in fabric design and fabric weaving as well. So that's why it's called herringbone as well. This is perfect for clients that wear no parting or wear multiple partings as well. So if you've got a client that wears a set parting, you could use this technique if you like, but it's not always necessary because you could actually do a straight up technique or something similar too as well. I'm going to start straight through the back section. I'm just going to remove these clips to begin with as well. This is classic foiling as well, so really great for any of you guys out there that are looking to develop your classic foil application skill as well. I'm going to be working through a fine weave as well. I'm going to be working through a sort of a gradual spacing. You're looking at around about 0.5 centimetre between each foil as well. So when I actually come to start weaving hair, first of all, I want to ascertain the look that I want to create. And that's the most important aspect, really, because I want to actually say, well, what is it I want to create? Do I want lots of colour? Do I want to change the colour quite dramatically? Or do I just want to add something nice and soft and gentle as well? Once I've arrived at that conclusion, I'll then decide how many highlights I'm actually going to put in, how much I'm going to space it out, and also as well, the actual distribution in terms of the sectioning pattern as well. These highlights are going to be quite spaced out. It's going to be a medium weave. So that's when I say medium weave, that's what I mean. I could do them finer than this, but that's a medium weave. The slice, the section itself would never be any thicker than that actual section there as well. So that's just a consideration for you guys to make as well. So I'm just going to repeat, excuse me, sorry I knocked you there as well. That's a textured weave, a medium weave I tend to call. And as well, I'm going to space them out quite evenly through the technique as well. I'm using foil. I'm a bit of a foil fan as well, and I'm using the backwards fold lock. So in order to do the backwards fold lock, I make a fold, on the shiny side of the foil, and then I turn it over, and then take this hair, place it underneath, as shown. Now you can use your tail comb, or you can use your hand, entirely up to you, depending on which one you find easier. And then I'm going to work the product through. Now I'm working with 2 colours today. I'm working with 5.1 with 6% peroxide, and this is going to be what I call a reverse light. Now when I'm considering distribution of colour into the hair, what I'm looking at is I'm looking what's already there and what I want to create in my next stage. And sometimes we may find over time colour or highlighted hair becomes too highlighted and it has too many colours in it, and we want to sort of balance out the colour. So sometimes you may implement a reverse light. A reverse light is their target shade, so their actual colour. So which is why I've chosen 5-1 in this instance. I want to reintroduce some of the natural back through so I can redistribute all the highlights all the way through the section as well. So as you can see, this is the 5.1 mixed with 6% peroxide, 20 volume as well. I've worked starting around about 1 inch up and then worked down the section with my tint brush as shown, straight down, and then return to the actual root area and I feather the colour in at the roots like this. The hair, around about in the first centimetre, is fresh hair, it's brand new. The keratin in this area is also much softer. It is harder as it gets down to the hair because it's older, which means it's more receptive to colour in this area, which means 1, we need less, and 2, we will get a much more intense result as well. So we must take that into consideration when colouring from roots to ends as well. So we don't just always necessarily do that. We must take that into account. I'm going to fold the foil once. I'm going to scrape it once. So that's perfectly in half. I'm folding it perfectly in half. I then fold 3/4 of the way up. I then scrape. I just scrape along like this because it makes it nice and firm. I can now lift the foil and then using this foil lock from before, I can push it back to the root area like this so I can refold it back in to ensure it doesn't leak. And then that would be, and then you seal the sides in like that. And you can see when you lift it up, it's nice and tight to the root area because we used this lock, this section before. I use this when I'm tinting in between my highlights. I also use it when I may be working very close in at the root area. I want that perfect seamless line. Do I always use it? Yeah, about 80% of the time. Do I always recommend all my learners to use it 100% of the time? Yes, until you feel totally confident. So as you can see, that's my next section. It's about 1 centimetre above this. I'm going to subdivide that because I don't want to highlight every section. So I'm going to take this section away, as shown, and then I'm going to highlight this next section. This will give me lovely gradual spacing in between my foils as well, because I don't want too much colour in there as well. I'm going to show you the same technique. So I'm going to fold it through, same as before. I'm going to turn it round. I'm going to use my tail comb this time, just to show you the difference. It's much of a muchness really, so that's with the tail comb method. And my second colour is a powder lightener with 20 volume, 6%. It's worked in the same manner. I'm working through to mid-lengths and ends because there's very little lightener in this before, so I can do that. But when lightening hair from mid-lengths to ends, we must make that consideration. So as you can see, this is my lightener as well. It's a gentle lightener with just 20 volume, 6%. I'm going to go through and just feather that root area, just to touch it in at the roots, ensuring I don't overlap over the foil as well, as shown. Okay? So making sure that it's all even all the way through, as you can see here as well. If you wanted more saturation and more lift, you can apply more products, but be mindful of leakage. The more product you do, the more opportunity it is to leak as well. So I tend to work with very fine sections and a slim veil of lightener. I find for me personally, that is my best strategy as well. Again, I'm folding in half, perfectly up to the top. 3/4 fold down here, fold once more, lift and push through as well. I'm going to seal the sides as shown. Again, so that would be my second foil. And you can see, now we can clearly see the spacing in between those foils. In order to achieve an accurate result, I must ensure that I apply the same method in terms of the spacing and the evenness of weave throughout the entire technique. So you can't all of a sudden decide, well, I'm just going to bunch these lot together and these. You have to have an intended purpose, a strategy, if you will, really. I may put slightly more highlights in the front area because I find that always looks very flattering because hair is naturally lightest towards the front as well. I'm going to just place some foils in a little bit quicker now, just while I talk to you about this week. I want to just add a few mentions to some of the activities because we've actually got a jam-packed week ahead. So whilst I just pop a few foils in as well, just to get caught up a little bit, because I was hoping to actually do some of the technique before coming on camera, but I was otherwise occupied in my many roles at Magda as well. So this week, guys, it's Mental Health Awareness Week. Yesterday, you were designing mood boards and posters, and we were talking about kindness within society, as that's this year's theme for mental health awareness as well. Again, that's my reverse slide, my tint, my 5.1 as well. So again, we're going to be touching base on Mental Health Awareness Week all throughout this week as well. Today, we've begun to raise money for the Booth Centre. It's 25 years of the Booth Centre. The Booth Centre help homeless people or those at risk of losing their home as well. So we're doing 25 for 25. All the teachers are doing activities and classes all throughout the week as well. I'm thinking about doing 25 hair ups in 25 minutes. That will be later in the week as well, because I need to practice first as well. So I'm just going through to do a powder lightener next. I'm alternating the colours, by the way, all the way through. So again, I'm just alternating the colours as we actually work through. I'm taking each section as we go. So 25 for 25 with the Booth Centre as well. For barbers, any barbers that might be watching today's live, welcome. We're doing the NHF Barber Competition as well. That's throughout the rest of May, the before and after NHF Barber Comp. That's a really great one as well. Good opportunities there to win. And what else have we got going on? Tomorrow we have our school takeover day and our new applicant takeover day, where it's all about new applicants. We've got the fabulous Kate Bruno doing a live session, Instagram TV session, where she's going to be doing a bouncy blow dry technique on her own hair as well. And she's going to talk about interview prep as well. So any newbies that are watching, that's one definitely for you guys. I just looped the bottom section here because it ran over the foil. So how I did that is I turned my brush like this and it recoils the hair back into place. I'm then going to take this section, I'm just going to feather the roots. When I feather the roots, I put my hand underneath the foil. I find it steadies the whole thing, so I can actually almost use my brush like a comb and actually just really make sure that's all nicely positioned into place, ready for folding. And then we've got my colour course as well. So my colour course is 4 days. Today is a live session with a quiz. Tomorrow is a headsheet assignment where you guys will design your dream colour, either a classic, temporary or creative, onto a headsheet. And then Thursday and Friday, we're doing a creative and contemporary lives as well with quizzes as well. Again, this will have an in-house certificate as well. I'm currently marking last week's work. So if you've submitted headsheet assignments, bear with me, just as I get those completed for you. I'm going to finish now on a reverse line as well. There will be some of the lighter colours falling over this section. Typically, sometimes we always finish on the lighter section at the top as well, but I think that's really subjective to the overall look that you're creating as well. So in this instance, I'm actually going to finish with my reverse light because I find it will give me a softer finish. And also some of these will fall over the sides as well. So I'm just taking this section and I'm doing textured weave, medium weave as well. So again, it's got quite good spacing, but you'll note that it's still very fine in actual texture is the section. I was hoping to have some of this completed prior to coming onto the live, so I may not finish all of the sections on the session because we may run out of time as well. But nevertheless, I will add on to our story and you guys can go on and do the quiz. But I love the herringbone because the herringbone's one of my favourite techniques because I use this on her. Some people are going to think I'm crazy when I'm about to say, but I've got clients and I call them flippers. And I call them flippers because they flip their hair this way and then they flip their hair this way and then they flip it this way. So when I come to design colour for them, sorry, I always say, you know, where's your parting and how do you wear it? And they'll say, oh, I flip it. And I think, right, okay. So I've got to design colour that's multi-dimensional and multi-purpose. It's got to be able to be worn in a variety of different partings. So that's section 1 complete as well, as we can see here, of the herringbone half head technique. I'm going to move on to the side section as well. I'm going to move on to the side section and do this top, and then I'll do the top of the other side, and then I'll do the other side off camera as well, just so you can see the herringbone V, because that's what I really want you to see, because that's the most important part of the technique really as well. Okay, no. So I'm going to carry on. So yeah, so where was I up to? Right, flipping. So your clients sometimes might flip the hair, which means they're wearing a variety of different partings. So you can't necessarily always just think, well, I'll just foil it straight up to the parting, because the colour might not necessarily work. What you want to do is maybe do something like a herringbone, where it's placed all on diagonals and the colour will disperse into the hair really lovely as well, creating a really soft multi-tonal effect as well. So this is why I love herringbone as well. You can also add face framers in, you could balayage in between them, you know, it's entirely up to you. It's very, very flexible. I'm just going to move it slightly because I'm at a very awkward angle. I'll keep moving around, and if anyone's got any questions, I'll be happy to help as well. I'll be reading your questions out just for the recording as well, in case anyone can't see them at a later stage, because I think this might go onto the story, it might also go onto the live TV. I'm not quite sure where it's going to go. Part of the fun and games. I'm going to start with a reverse as well. On this look, I'm doing all my lighter tones on the interior because I think it'll be softer, more feminine as well, and more classic and stylish as well. This does have a fringe as well. So again, this look is great for no parting or multiple partings as well. So again, just ensure that you are working through in a methodical way all the way through the sections. And I'm just lifting up and I'm just going to push that back into the root area, and then I just seal at the ends as well. This goes up in ones, 1, 1, 1, and then I go 2. So you'll see the end of the section just in a few moments as well. So yeah, so herringbone, guys, is one of my most favourite techniques. I love it. I think it's a real winner because I think it just gives you that like multi-dimensional, multi-purpose colour application that's really essential for any colourist to be able to master as well. And I found that clients want, personally, my opinion, I've been colouring hair for a number of years, and I've seen style change quite a lot, and I find that now clients want more multi-dimensional tonal colour, they want more separation in their highlights as well, so we're not weaving them as fine as maybe what we once were, we're weaving them with a little bit more texture in, and obviously we're freehanding as well, which is a huge technique that's, you know, took the highlighting world by storm and transformed what we do as well. So when working with the lightener, again, I just need to really make sure that it is evenly distributed and that also the product has been really well mixed as well. You do have the option to feather it in, which is always recommended, but you can also gently press the colour in at the root area as well, like I've shown as well. And that's just going to give me that really smooth look. You could also have the option to work diagonally back through this section on sort of reverse diagonal lights as well, and that gives you lovely face framers as well. It's a little bit more challenging on a block, and it's not something I teach on classic colour, it's something I teach our level 3s to do on advanced colour, because I think you should learn the classic straight up method first and then learn how to go diagonally across, just so you've got the both in your skill set as well. So again, that's my second foil. This section's going to have one more foil placed in it before we actually break it down. You can actually subdivide this section if you choose, which I might do just for ease of use. Yeah, that's great. I'm just going to subdivide it just a little bit, because as I get up the section, it gets bigger. So I'm going to go into 2 as well. So I'm just going to take this section through here as well. If the section gets quite long like this through there, just make sure you just comb it away from you and make sure it's nice and neat all the way through. And just weave. I'm just going to pop a few more foils in as well. I'm going to show you, I used my hand on the previous sections. I'm going to use my tail comb on this. I prefer to use my hand, light, dark, it's dark, sorry, I have to think what colour I was on then. As well, you will have to make sure that you do alternate the shades. And again, you have to remember what your last colour was as well. You know, you don't want to do like 6 dark ones or 6 light ones as well, because it will ruin the overall effect of what you're wanting to create. And I'm just sealing those ends, just working through, and then lifting up and lifting through. When working on a block, you'll find she gives you less resistance, so it's all a bit more movie. Like, I have to be slightly a bit more delicate with the block head. You can actually see here where I've actually subdivided these 2 sections. So now these folds are going to go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, all the way up here, and then they're going to go diagonally back through the top section as well. So I'm just going to do the first one here, and they will be the same, the corresponding section on either side as well. So it's so light, light, dark, dark, light, light, dark, dark as well, just so I get the disbursement of colour that I'm actually looking for through the section. I think this is a pretty good angle, yeah. If anyone wants me to move, let me know. Evenness of weave is extremely important as well, and the weaving action you're looking to do is like a bobbing motion. If any of you did any sewing previously, if you're learning this, it will help you master this technique. So again, lift up the section, twist it down onto it, and then place the lightener just about 1 inch away. If you work in the root area only, let's say if this is a regrowth application, you would obviously have to be a lot more delicate with your application technique, because you can't obviously paste all the lightener all the way down first and then work up, which is easier. You would have to actually gently press the lightener in whilst ensuring the foil is stuck into place as well. So again, I'm just going to speed up slightly because I really want to show you the diagonal sections at the top, because I find that they are the most important aspect of this technique. So I'm working through the sides. The sections have 2 components at the side. It splits into 2 as well, and you will be working through, timing wise, in Salon, 45 minutes. I'd be taking this around about that. So again, just working that section all the way through as shown. And again, starting to work a little bit more quicker now. That's great. And again, when you're actually folding the foil, you do need to be gentle with it, because you may actually lose your section as well. And I'm just going to put that away. I'm using these from R clips today. You tend to use silver clips, but this hair had been straightened and it was very, very silky. So I found that even with my usual silver clips, what I love, it just wasn't holding, so I needed something a little bit stronger. So again, I've just gone with these clips here, and you can see I've subdivided that section there. That's really important if you want that spacing. You know, we're not highlighting or low lighting every section. I want like a nice even distribution of colour, and I've planned that out really. That's what I'm actually wanting to get across. I've actually planned the disbursement of colour into the hair as well, and I think that's a really important factor to consider. Not just working like a robot, thinking, well, one foil on top of another, you know. You want to think, well, why am I putting this foil in there, and why am I putting this foil in here, and so on and so forth, because that's when you're going to get like a lot more bespoke colour going on, and then that's when your clients will start to think, hang on a second, these aren't just highlights. You know, these are Craig's highlights, these are Chelsea's highlights, they're, you know, anybody's highlights, they're, you know, they're very bespoke to how that person actually designs them as well. And then that's going to help you retain clients, because ultimately that's what we're looking at here. We're looking at client retention, especially with what's happened due to lockdown, because client retention is going to be more important now than ever, because fact of the matter is, yes, we're artists, but we're also businessmen and women, and we need to make money as well. So again, we need to start looking at something as simple as a classic foiling technique can be turned into a truly bespoke service as well, because I find that just by thinking, well, I'm going to weave your hair this way and I'm going to apply reverse lighting in these sections, because I find that it's going to enhance the overall colour. It's going to just enhance that technique. Don't just work in a methodical way because your trainer told you. You know, learn the rules like a pro, break them like an artist. And then that's when every client can become something new, special and exciting. Even if it's just classic foils as well, which I think many of us still absolutely love. I love building foil highlights. I love the unique form of them as well. Just working through these sections a little bit more quickly now in more of a commercial-like fashion. Again, for me, that's really important as well, but it's that consideration of colour that's really going to help me transport my client's look to that next level as well. And I'm just sort of working from these quite small sections as well. They are quite small. I hope you guys can see. I do take time to ensure evenness of weave as well, and I assess the actual the weave that I have created as well. And again, the backwards fold lock technique, which I'm demonstrating here, is just something really as like what we call a safeguard, a colour safeguard, because that's going to really help you just to create that kind of extra safeguard, especially if you were doing something like, I don't know, an endpoint assessment perhaps. Have you tried working on a head block with PPE face mask on? They steam up, they move. They steam up. 2 plastic aprons and gloves will be so hot. Actually, that's a really great topic, and thanks for bringing that up, because, you know, I sometimes pop into Microdon to collect my printing, you know, for my head sheets, which are displayed behind me. I'll take some pictures and videos of them, because I don't know if we're going to have time for me to show you on the live today. But yes, thank you, Catherine. I am concerned about it because, you know, I think it's going to be a lot more challenging for us to do what we do as artists and as hairdressers as well. So we are going to have to make those considerations in terms of spacing. I read a really great article from a hairdresser working in Georgia, and she said, you know, we're all guilty of not taking that lunch break and having that break in between clients because we want to maximise every opportunity for money. But when you're wearing a mask and everything, you are going to have to take those breaks. You are going to have that downtime in order for your body to recuperate as well, because it is going to be more pressure whilst working in these conditions as well. And we'll have to take it step by step, I believe, as well. So again, just taking these sections through as well and working through the sides simultaneously, both sides together at the same time, through here as well, just again with this medium wave. Thank you, great question as well. Yes, you know, I think it's going to be a different time for us, isn't it, coming forward, in terms of how we're going to be working in Salon, how we're going to interact with our clients as well. So again, that's why services like just turning your classic highlights into something truly bespoke is going to really help maximise and enrich that appointment for your lady. I had the opportunity to work at a salon in Mayfair, and they have a very unique technique to highlights, and it's a very specific technique, and the clients know this. And I think that's what makes them so special as an organisation, because their clients knew that this technique was so special, and they promoted this to their clients in such a positive way. The clients couldn't possibly dream of going somewhere else, because these highlights were placed in such a unique fashion, and only the company knew the pattern that the highlights were placed in. So you couldn't have this technique performed anywhere else because it was truly unique to them. And I find that if we did that for all our services in Salon, we could increase client retention as well because we're creating that unique experience. And many hairdressers already do this as well. This is standard practice in many salons. But for learners that are coming through, you know, you'll want to do the same. Of course, you've got your standard procedures. We've been working from salon to salon. But you'll always want to create your own unique craft, your own unique specialism. I've finished this section now, as well, as you can see here. As well, I'm just going to come on and finish this section. And then I'll do the top side of the herringbone on this side. And then I'll be able to talk the rest through. And then I'll storyboard the rest for you as well. So that was a lie. Sorry, I had to think. Sometimes I have to go back and have a look. That's age, that. as well. But yeah, actually, no, I'll be honest, I've always been like that. I've always thought, what colour was the last one? Which one was that? Especially if you're working on 3 colours or 4 colours, which I've done before as well. So, yeah. So again, I'm just going through as well. Some of the fringe is being included in this section as well. So I just need to really make sure that I consider how that will fall over the face in terms of the weave. So I want to ensure that some of that definitely gets included as well, but I don't want it to be too chunky at the front. I do want that beautiful even distribution of colour. And again, I'm just using that backwards fold. Again, I am using my tail comb on some sections and my hands in others. I mix it up really. It depends where I am in on the head. If I can use my tail comb, I will, but sometimes I find it more comfortable to use my hand underneath the section as well. And this is just my reverse light. So I'm just reversing this light back to its natural with 5.1 and 6% 20 volume. As well, and I'm just working that beautiful section there nice and evenly through, and I'm just sealing the foil halfway, fold, scrape, lift and lock and seal, lift, lock and seal. There we go. As well, one more foil on this side, and then we're going to move to the herringbone part of the sectioning as well. So on this last one, this is going to be a light powder lightener, 6%. This will only lift a couple of levels. It's be about 7-1, possibly 8-1. Depends how long I'm going to leave it on for as well. So, yeah. I hope you guys have all been utilising all these amazing training opportunities that are out there at the moment. I know I have. I've been doing the Sassoon courses, the online courses. They've just been incredible. I've absolutely loved every minute. I'm on my 3rd course in 3 weeks. So a few late nights doing my head sheets after work. Still working full time and doing courses. Absolutely love learning, and that's what's so great about our job. That continuation of learning. I absolutely adore it. I think it's brilliant as well. Last night I had to make a piece of art out of an object from hairdressing. So I made a chair as well out of bobby pins. Oh, I think your students are lucky to be taught by you. You always come across so positively. Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I try to be as well, because I love my job and I love hairdressing and I love making sure that our industry is stocked with great talent as well, because if we're all good, we get good together as well. And I find that this is such an interesting time for hairdressers, because there's this outpouring of support from the hairdressing community. You know, you get companies like Sassoon doing these training courses, and they're just amazing that they've gone out there and they help supporting all hairdressers by giving this extra training and development. This side is completed, and you can see we've now completed 3 sections in total on the technique. I'm working a lot slower than I would in the salon in Salon, because, you know, well, to be honest, in Salon, I'd be on my next client by now. So again, because obviously we're chatting I'm chatting as I go along. But yeah, they're my 3 techniques. I'm going to work through this section now under diagonal back. Now, the reason why it goes diagonal back, for 2 reasons. It will disperse colour into the hair nice and evenly. You'll be able to switch it over to multiple partings, and it also complements the shape of the hairline. So we're going to work from the hairline back as well. But yeah, so I've been absolutely loving all these extra courses as well. And if there's any stylists out there that are not necessarily microton learners or microton formal learners that are looking for any advice that what's going on in terms of any training opportunities, you know, you can always drop me a DM and I'll see if I can help, because I'm sort of like, well, I'm constantly looking for new things, especially if it's free. You know what I mean? You can't waste these opportunities. I'm working in the fringe section now, so I'm just being extra careful because I know that these lights are going to really fall over the face as well. So I'm mindful of every section, but of course, you know, if I'm working on a face framer, I might just take that extra consideration into account. So I'm going to hold the section into place. I don't ever press the foil onto the face. I do see that a lot, actually. You know, if you put your tail comb underneath and press it on the face, it's quite uncomfortable for clients. So just bear that in mind and maybe think, I'll use my hand on these first sections so it doesn't actually fall on her face. I think this time for courses and reflection will help with professionals, and absolutely, I completely agree. I think we'll all be ready and raring to go because, again, of the investment that we're all making into one another as well, and that's what makes it so special to be a hairdresser in 2020, even though we're facing great challenges. Let's be honest, we're facing challenges we could have never possibly imagined. So for us to come together like this, and then for us to make sure we look after each other, will be the best thing we can possibly do. Just really making sure here, that because I'm working in this short section as well, sometimes it can push up. So I just take that section and I pull it out like that. You can be firm at this point because, again, you don't want leakage. And I'm just going to really make sure this foil is sealed tight as well. Sometimes when you're working with shorter hair, it can be more challenging. So just take that extra care just in that section there as well. And I fold the foil to the actual section's width as well. I like to work on thinner sections as well. I'm not a huge one of big wide sections, and I don't ever use wide foil. I do get a bit jealous of those hairdressers that use the wide foil and take the wide sections because, well, they're just a lot quicker than me. But yeah, you've got to do it. I think you've got to find your own way. You've got to learn every technique that you possibly can see, and then you've got to think, well, I'm going to do it like this, or I'm going to change that little bit that Craig did, and just do my own little sort of movements through there as well. I think that's what makes great hair. I think that's what makes good hairdressers really great as well. Again, so if you was to press down on like that, of course that would be on the face. So you would need to consider that in terms of a comfort factor. I wouldn't do it personally, but I wanted to show you the actual technique as well. She's pretty tough. She's had a few colours so far, so she's all right for the moment. But again, I wouldn't recommend that. I'd hold it with my hand, but I wanted you to see the application of this section, because sometimes when I do it with my hand's in the way as well. So again, just working through. When you get to the root area, just gently balayage. We call it feathering. We feather the colour in just with the tip of the brush, the very, very tip. And that's just going to create that gentle immersion of colour. So sorry, I missed to start working. What colour formulas are you using? Oh, thank you. That's great. I'm using a pre-lightener. It's Velvet Silk, which we're currently using at the Academy. And that's with 20 volume, 6% peroxide. That's going to lift about 2 levels of lift on this hair, which is a block. So it has, you know, major resistance anyway. Plus also as well, there is tint on it. I have tinted on this before. So I only want about 2 levels of lift as well. I'm just going to check the time. Okay. About 2 levels of lift. And I'm doing a reverse light. There's a little bit of balayage in here. There's a little bit of all sorts, I'll be completely honest. So again, what I want to do is I want to reverse light some of these out. When I say reverse light, what I actually mean, nice to hear the sound of foil. I love foils. I absolutely love foils. I feel like I'm home. When I say reverse light, I actually mean low light. So if anyone gets confused by that, I apologise, but I'm actually talking about a low light. I call it reverse light because we're actually reversing these highlights, some of these highlights back to their natural as well. So I'm doing a reverse in there as well. And yeah, so this is sort of going back, you know, very sort of your classic ways. That was like, I've completely forgot which one I just did. That's because I was talking. Wait there. Light, dark, light, yeah. Thank you. Sorry. So again, that's because I've lost concentration there as well. Yeah, Frankie, good question. So I hope that answers what I'm doing as well. So everyone, I'm just working through. I'm going to work through this section now. This is going to be my last section that I do on camera, and then I'll storyboard the rest as well, and I'll also storyboard the final result as well. Yeah, Blockhead Live, foil aerobics, yeah. I do a class at Michael John called foil aerobics. Some of my learners will remember foil aerobics, taught it not so long back, where I had to... See, sometimes the learners don't appreciate just how much preparation it takes to teach. I had to tear 1,200 foils. By hand, we don't have a machine. You know, we're old school as well, so it's 1,200 files. Let me talk about an hour, actually, very quick. I was the best junior. Best junior as well. See, in my day, we didn't have machines. I sound really old now. You had to do it by hand for your colourist you was working with. I actually still prefer to... I do like the foil machines, but I still like to do them myself, if I'm completely honest, as well. Again, I'm just working very neatly over this parting section. I'm still ensuring that the weave is textured. It's got spacing between it, which is really important because you don't want it to look slicey. Sometimes you can weave them too fine and you won't get that texture in your colour. Sometimes you can weave them too thick. Sometimes they might look a bit out of place or out of character with the overall look as well. But again, this is where you can sort of create your own identity in terms of foil placement as well for those classic clients as well. Okay, fold, fold, lift, push, and then secure as well through there. And I'm just alternating the colours. Obviously, you could work two lights. No, sorry, I was the best junior. I think we all think now. Actually, I was probably the worst. I guess the people who, I bet they'd be like, you thought you were the best junior? No. Yeah, she probably were the best junior. I don't think it was me. I tried though, so that's the main thing. But yeah, I did actually enjoy being junior. I did actually like assisting because I'm a bit of a perfectionist, believe it or not. As well, so for me, I always just loved making sure everything was ready, really as well. I did a lot of walking around with a clipboard pretending to be busy. That was like head junior's job, wasn't it, the clipboard thing? I was never head junior. I never got to that status, unfortunately. There was a girl called Joanne, she was actually very good as well, but no, I was never head junior. So I did become a stylist pretty quick, actually, so I was a junior less than a year before I started colouring. I was a colourist first, and then I became a stylist, and then I just did that for a bit, and now I've always done both ever since as well. I absolutely love doing both. I have specialised in either one. But for me, I do love mixing it up, like one time doing a colour and then doing a cut and perm. I love to perm, in fact. I'm very tempted. Next week's course, I'm not saying I'm going to do this. Next week's course might be a perming course as well. So, he's never forgiven Joanne. No, she was quite nice actually. She was quite strict though. She did go on to have a really cool career, but so next week's course might be a perming course because I'm a bit all cut and coloured out. I mean, I've done a bit of styling, but I think we need something a bit different. Let's mix it up, you know. It'd be really cool to do a bit of perming as well. I'd just set them, I'd do perm ones and I'd leave them to dry in for a couple of days. And then, yeah, I think that'd be really cool as well. That's great. Okay, so I'm just working through these final sections and then I'm going to give you just a bit of a run through about where we're up to and what I'm going to complete off camera as well, and then you guys can keep up to date with the story for the rest of today, and that'll give you the final result. I'll also post my head sheet on there as well for you guys, which is really cool. I hope you like it as well. That helps you because colour head sheets are very different to cutting head sheets. It's more about working on the interior markings rather than, say, like expanded forms, which is what we do a lot in hair cutting. Just working for a little bit quicker now. Get your perm rods out. I know I was actually speaking to one of our salon coordinator actually about it earlier, and I was like, we have got perm rods, right? She was like, oh yeah, we've got those. I was like, oh, okay, cool. But yeah, I don't know, I might do something really cool actually. A bit of perming would be really cool as well, because I absolutely love curly hair. It's my favourite thing. Love it. So it's really cool to get some of the classics back out as well. That'd be really cool. And we're also thinking about doing an extensions course at some point as well, which would be really cool. We're going to do there'll be all in-house certificates as well, so it really helps you with your portfolio, building that portfolio up as well. So for you guys that are looking to really sort of get that development in there, that's going to be really cool for you guys too as well. So yeah, I'm just folding these down as well, making sure they all are really nice and symmetrical as well. I'm just going to finish these last sections. When I get to the crown, there's no, I do space them out a little bit like more as well. So although once I needed to mix a base 10 in a panic Saturday, I saw a 6 and 4 and 4 10. I love that. Oh, that is so funny. 6 and 4 makes 10. Oh my God, what happened? Oh, I think, I don't remember doing anything really specifically wrong. I remember I once slipped into the salon and slid all the way across the floor, and it was on camera. I was once late on a Saturday morning and ran in so quick into the salon. I tripped and landed on top of a client on the sofa, and I mean fully over her knee on top of her. So that was quite embarrassing. That was probably the most embarrassing I've ever been at work as well. So yeah, that's probably the worst for me, I think, as well. We once got caught having a water fight. My salon manager, yeah, she wasn't very happy. So yeah, don't do that, guys. Yeah, we were quite... Actually, you know what? I really wasn't the best junior in the world. Yeah, you can have that one, Catherine. Oh, that's so funny. Love that. I think we all made those as well. That's lovely. A couple more sections. Yeah, so I space them out a little bit more as I get towards the crown, because I find that it actually just makes the colour a bit softer at the crown area as well. So I'm just sort of really making sure they're nice. Just a little bit more spaced out at the crown, because it just makes it look a bit... Because it can go a bit glowy, a bit glary at the crown, I find, as well. What was that last section? I have to check. Light now. Light, dark, light. Okay. Yeah, that's great. So, as well, and then this last one will be light, which will fall over the dark ones at the back, which will sort of give that really nice... My base 10 disaster lady was called Mrs. Green, and she nearly went green. Oh, I love it. She nearly went green. Great, a bit of green for Mrs. Green. Wow, that's hilarious. Love it. It's so good. I think it's those moments that make your hairdressing career. You know, it's those moments that really stand out to you, isn't it? You think you've got to... I think everyone's got those little disasters as well. One of the hairdressing community I'm on, UK hairdressers helping hairdressers, they're all sharing it on there the other day, and there was a few giggles. I can't think of any that actually spring to mind as well, but if you guys are on there, I think the post is still on there. This last section's quite small. It's almost like a triangle, and they will actually fold it like a triangle as well. It's only 3 strands as well, which just really adds that beautiful soft colour on the crown, which is what I always like. I hate it when it goes like a block on the crown. Used to have that happen to me a lot, like, because I'd work all the colours, because they all sort of go back into the crown being the pivot point in this case. So I sometimes found that it'd come out really super light. So I think we don't concentrate so many highlights in that area as well, and I've found that it helps soften the colour as well. Amazing. That's great. Okay, so I'm just going to recap over what I've created here as well. You can see we've still got the opposite side to do. I'll do that off camera as well, but we've created the herringbone technique on one side. So as you can see, so when we say herringbone, it comes down into a V. So these ones will go the opposite way, and you'll see that on the story. So it creates that V-like shape, and what that's going to give me, I can have my part in here, 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 here. All of this top section can be parted in any way, which shape or form, and you will get the exact same immersion of colour, because I'll put the exact same amount of highlights on the opposite side as well, just so it can be flipped, it can be moved, it can be worn with no parting, it can be worn with multiple partings as well, so it's going to give you that really beautiful look. So I'm just going to go through. We've got two sections. We had one section in the back, we've got 4 sections in the sides and the top as well. This section at the side subdivided into 2 as well to accommodate its width, because it was quite wide. And then we had the top herringbone section going back through this side as well, through there. So off camera, I'll complete the opposite side as well. I'll do some stories and pictures for you. I'll tone it, I'll dry it and re-blow dry it. I'll dry and straighten it, most likely, as well, and sort of give it a really nice finish so you can actually see as well. Just a few of the questions that are coming up as well. So question 1 and question 2 on the quiz was, to begin the technique, I must prepare the following as well. So each of the 8 questions on today's quiz are multi-choice as well on there. Take time to read them. There's one really silly answer, because I just put it in there just to be fun, and then there's 2 answers that are quite similar. So just take a moment to think about your process, my process as well, and if you're unsure, you can DM me, you can email me. Everybody's got my information as well. This live session should either be on the story for 24 hours, or it may go onto our Instagram TV. I'm not quite sure where it's going to end up, because they've been doing different things different times, but hey, you'll get to see it again as well. Tomorrow, I'll be back at 3 o'clock doing a contemporary colour. I'm going to be doing a halo technique. So it's actually taking my contemporary bob that I did last week, and I'm going to put a halo of colour in. It's really great for short hair that doesn't wear a parting. That's really going to be... was I supposed to revise for this? No, Lauren, you're okay, actually. I'll let you off the quiz. Yeah, tomorrow's going to be a halo technique as well. I hope you guys enjoy the halo. I'll catch up with you later on the stories, and you can see this lovely creation of herringbone highlights finished. Okay, guys, take care, stay safe, and I'll see you tomorrow, and see you later on the stories. Bye. Thanks, Catherine. Thanks. It was fun. Enjoyed it. See you guys.